Party Bus to Hell or Bus Party to Hell, depending on where you look and depending on whatever the movie tells you. Because the title that shows on the screen does not match the lyrics of the opening song, nor does it match the title on IMDb, nor does it match the title on Amazon. It is weird. It's completely reversed. No, like everywhere you look, it's the opposite. It's either Bus Party to Hell or Party Bus to Hell. I don't know why they couldn't get this straight. But there you go. So this movie was recommended to me by Teddy Brown. It was also watched by Rebecca, my co-host on In the Mic of Madness, and Diego? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, watched it as well, and they were like, dude, there's gore, there's tits, there's insanity, you gotta watch it. So my brother and I, we were looking for a movie to just turn our brains off to. I have a lot of films left in 2018 that I'm still trying to get to. This is not one of the ones that was anywhere near up on my list to watch for a 2018 film, but it was late. We were like, we want to throw on something stupid. Maybe we'll watch 20 minutes of it. We ended up watching the whole thing, and I'm honestly not sure how or why, because this movie's awful. But is there fun to be had? Yeah, there's fun to be had for sure, and I had some fun. I had some laughs. I had a good time with this and that. But it's purposely shitty. It stars Tara Reid, and it's executive produced by Tara Reid. Her character is completely fucking pointless in the movie. I think that she was producing it or was brought in on it, and they wanted to put her on the poster because she's big with the Sharknado people right now. So she's trying to make her own Sharknado thing, doing really goofy comedy, horror like this that's purposely bad, which is fine if that's your thing. It usually never works, to be honest. Horror, like purposely bad horror for comedic purposes, is so hard to nail. It is seldomly successful. I can think of only a handful of times it's ever worked, and most other times, a high percentage is unsuccessful, because what made the old films charming is that they were good bad, but because they were trying to be good. Trying to be bad to be good bad is very tough to nail, and this film is not successful in that at all, but it is successful in some outrageous moments that make you have to laugh just because you're like, fuck dude, ridiculous stuff. As far as the boobies, I personally only liked one pair of boobies in this movie. All the rest I think I could have done without, so they're not my kind of boobs. I don't like really fake stripper boobs. I know a lot of people do. That's their thing. They like that like circular round look. I can't take it. But there is one girl, she has natural boobs. She's an older woman, but they look great. And so there we go. The boob talk is out of the way. That's one of the selling points of this movie. When they were talking to me, everyone likes to tag me in any movie that has boobs. I get like a breakdown. It's almost like a Mr. Skin tag for me. They're like, hey Jason, there's a boob in this, or there's somebody shows their boobs in this, which I'm fine with. Yeah, keep tagging me because I want to know. I'm a pervert like that. That's fine with me. But yeah, so lots of boobs, yes. Gore. That's what I want to talk about, the gore in this movie. So while there is a decent amount of gore, it all sucks horribly. Want to know why? I bet you can guess. Yeah, exactly. CGI. Horrible CGI. As I've said a million times, I'm not against CGI in the slightest. I am against horrible CGI always, and I'm always against CGI when it comes to gore. It never works. Not in low budget. As I said, maybe I've seen great gore that's CGI, but I didn't know because it was so damn good. That's absolutely possible. But when it's noticeable, it's horrendously noticeable. There's people getting their heads lopped off. There's like green screen heads flying around. So it's like a guy comes up, his head gets decapitated, and he's like, his head's floating there, and it's so clearly like cut off with green screen. It's like circular, and you can tell he's like putting his head through, and he has like a suit on. Oh man, it's bad. It's so bad. There's where some of the enjoyment comes in, because you're just like, oh my god, that's so bad looking. But it makes you laugh, and we laugh. And, you know, some of the stuff that the characters are doing, that head does something where it's just kind of like, yeah, 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 yeah. And every time it did it, it made my brother and I just crack up because it's so silly, but a fun silly. Yeah, the story. This girl gets onto a party bus. She's just walking by it randomly after being dropped off by some guy on the street corner of Vegas, and you can tell that they ran out there without permission, like without permits, and just tried to film really quick because like one of the shots is completely out of focus, and you're like, oh, they had to get the shot that they had to get. It was a one take. They're looking at the party bus, completely the girl's there out of focus, and you're like, all right, we got the take. Let's go. Jump in the bus. Let's drive. Like 100% that's what happens. And I thought it was kind of clever because the girl steps out of the car and she throws a line of dialogue at all the people who are staring at her on the strip. But it's because her and the guy get into a little argument in the car, and she looks around, and you know that moment in the movie where people are at like a restaurant and, you know, like in Scarface or something. You know, yeah, look at the fucking bad guy. Kind of like one of those moments. But she gets out of the car and she's like, yeah, you know, because they just got into a fight, and she turns around, and because there's a camera crew there without a fucking permit, everyone's going to be staring, of course. And she gets out of the car and they actually write it into the dialogue. I'm just guessing here, but I'm 100% sure this is why they did it, which is clever. It's smart. They did it where she turned around. She's like, what are you all looking at? And then some of them kind of looked away, but some of them kept staring. And that explains why they're all staring, because in a movie, no one should be looking at the camera, right? I thought that was pretty funny. I noticed it and I was like, they wrote that bit of dialogue to explain why everyone on the strip is staring at them. Good stuff. That was funny. Please, if anyone watches this from the production, please tell me I'm right there. And if I am right, kudos to you guys for being clever and making me laugh there. I noticed. There is fun to be had in this movie. I'm not going to say there isn't. It's an idiotic movie. This is for fans of something like a Sharknado. Purposely bad, ridiculous, stupid humor, and just nonsensical plots, completely throwaway characters that you couldn't give two shits about. A plot that's so convoluted that you can't even begin to break down all the plot holes and all the inconsistencies and everything. For some reason, there's like 20 people on the bus, but then when they run outside, you see like 35, 40 people getting killed, people you never saw on the bus, and you're like, who the fuck are these people? And who's that? And then there's like other people who are running back on the bus, and you see, and there's like 6 people left, and you're like, but they just killed like 40 of 25 of you. Like, what the hell is going on? It's hilarious. But none of the gore, I don't think there's any gore in this movie that's good. And then they just throw everything at you. They have, what did they call them in the movie? Like desert dwelling nomads, and they had mummies, and they had like these like witch type characters that were like coming out with snakes on them and rubbing blood on their tits and dancing, and there's just like a couple girls that are just there to like stripper dance in the background the entire time. Like every single time they are shown, they're just sitting there dancing and rubbing their tits, and it's so repetitive and silly. I did laugh, and we ended up watching the whole thing, so it's not so bad I had to turn it off, but it was so bad I couldn't turn it off. I guess is that a good thing? I don't know. But my brother and I, we both said it at the end. It was like 5 minutes left, and I think it was my brother that said it first, but he was just like, we watched this whole fucking thing? Why? Like, how did we make it through this whole movie? But it was just one of those things. We were having a good time, making fun of it, laughing. So I guess it served its purpose. I can't shit on it too much. It's hard to shit on a movie like this. It's hard to say things, but there's a lot of humor that is meant to be funny that is not funny and does not land because the characters, the actors cannot deliver, and because the jokes aren't well put together. They're not well thought out. So it's cringy dialogue, but it's purposely trying to be cringy, to be humorous, but it actually just becomes cringy. So it's a tough blend. But there are other lines and there are other moments that make you laugh. Whether they're intentionally trying to make you laugh in that way, I don't know. But as I said, it's hard to knock a movie like this because they're purposely trying to suck. So how do you critique something that's purposely doing this? If you are a fan of like Sharknado, whatnot, check it out. I guess you throw it on for 5-10 minutes. If you're not into it by then, you're not going to be. It's not going to change dramatically. There's some things I could say about the ending. I did like that they addressed one thing when it comes to like a virgin, and they're like, "Oh my God, there has to be a virgin." And there's always one thought that comes into my mind, and it's actually addressed in this movie. So thank you guys for actually addressing this. You know, because I'm always sitting there and I'm just like, so she just needs to not be a virgin for this not to apply anymore? And there's guys around. I'm sure you can get where I'm going with that. It's just, thank you for addressing that in this movie. Other than that, guys, this is not a recommendation. This is not a recommendation at all. So don't think it is. But if for some reason you're into what I said or like really silly, stupid Sharknado type movies, maybe it'll be up your alley. I laughed. I guess I enjoyed myself. I didn't really, but I did. I don't know. Kind of a shitty review, but it's what I got. All right.